Welcome to 𝐕 and 𝐤𝐸 Live. As our world spins seemingly out of control, we are all experiencing time speeding up, chaos shifting to a new level, and a yearning to know the greater mysteries of the universe. What does it all mean? Visionary spiritual teachers and best-selling authors 𝐕 Ram Kha and 𝐤𝐸 Ra explore these mysteries, offer live soul readings, and invite you to open up your mind, body, and spirit to the paradigms that are shifting. Bringing you fresh perspectives and timeless wisdom, here are 𝐕 and 𝐤𝐸.
Namaste and welcome, beloved ones, to the voice of passionate action. I am 𝐕 Ram Kha.
And I am Master Lady 𝐤𝐸 Ra, and beloved angels, welcome. Wow. So much to share about July 2020, about what happened yesterday, what is happening right now, the week ahead. We have 2 peak up-level moments in July, and they are both next week. 𝐕, I am just here with all of you. We are feeling you, and wow, we're feeling you everywhere. So where is everyone joining us today?
Well, we are broadcasting at all those beautiful places that love to receive this broadcast. Our official 𝐕 and 𝐤𝐸 YouTube channel, Oneness Talk Radio for video and audio, BBS Radio for video and audio, Facebook page for Oneness Talk Radio. I think that's it.
And
all the affiliates to pick it up.
Right. So thank you. We are grateful. I also want to share that the lines are jamming fast today. So here are your phone numbers. You can get into the call board at 888-627-6008. Again, that is 888-627-6008. That's our call board over at BBS Radio. You get to say hey to our producer, Don, and he'll get you all hooked up for the show. And you do get to listen while you're on hold, or just, turn down your volume and check out both, however you're watching us. You can also give us a buzz over at 517-208-1500, and almost all 100 lines are getting close to filled.
Oh, we got room for a couple
just
more.
Just a few more, and the 800 number, 517-208-1500. Come on, this is your day. And again, you can listen to the call board you can listen to the show while you are connected. Yeah. Yeah, there we are. And
so we're delighted that you are joining us through all these different locations and ways to connect. Because truly the connection between us all is one of love. It's one of energy.
Yeah.
It's one of intention. Because when an intention is based in love, the energy flows in an harmonic that then invites a harmonic return. And that is the figure 8 energy of the ascended state. We send out and we received in equal, balanced proportion, you might say.
Yeah.
And so we're delighted you're with us today, and we look forward to sharing a whole lot more about the July energy.
Right now. I'm jumping in right now.
Because we got something big cooking here.
It's so far beyond that. And there we are. It's just so much happening is the only way to say it. And so I want to just begin by, let's take a moment and just breathe. Because, and I want to share with all of you, I arrived at our studio this afternoon, and I want to show you what my beautiful husband had waiting right here out of your camera view. And look what he brought forward for today's show. Look at those orchids. Those are from our water therapy center, where my husband is really become an orchid enthusiast.
Well, yes.
Amazing,
and those were gifts from the plants that said, these I'm ready to release for others to enjoy. And when you come here, you're going to find a dozen varieties of orchids that are constantly blooming and sharing their beauty and love. Beauty is love. Really.
So I don't have a way to keep them up here by the camera. So I just wanted you to be aware that this beauty and love, very, very harmonious and gorgeous. Careful, honey.
This one has got a very short stem.
Yeah.
I want to hold this up a little more.
Okay, yeah, and then I'll do the same. This one has a look.
The dynamic of this flower.
Right.
This is worthy of a meditation right here.
Oh, for sure.
You can connect with the structure of the universe by looking deeply into this gift of nature.
So thank you, my love. And we're really excited about all of the things that are coming forward. And I felt that those orchids were very fifth dimensional in their color. It's just, of course, we have these wonderful violet-y color ones, because let's take a breath, come together, kind of have our own little chat. And I want to track with you what's been happening. So if you're new to the show, if this is your first time here, if you're new to what Shri and I have been sharing with the world, hey, we're so glad you found us. And this is part of why I want to track. Also, for those of you that have been with us a while, so much happening so fast right now. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I keep up with it? So here's the first thing we want to track with. That let us remember that May was a culminating month of choice. And so the month of June, the June that we are in right now, we have been living with the awareness of that choice. And there was so much energy that's been building, and we have been in these huge moments of 2020 energy flows. So as we have been in the month of June, where awareness has been what it is all about. And now, why is this the case? Because remember that all ascension energy moves in the same cycle. It is always a trinity, and it is always ascension,
awareness,
and awareness, experience, choice. Right. Our ascension flow is. Are you with me? Okay. We're in our new chairs, so we're having fun. And anyway,
I can swivel.
We can swivel and we can move. And Shri put a little bit of green screen on our chair, and that's what I've been watching. I'm like, okay. And so that's an awareness, right?
It's only a test.
It is only. So awareness, experience, choice. June is awareness. That means that we are moving into a July moment of experience. And it is going to be beyond anything we have done before, because everything is beyond what we have done before. Let us not forget that this co-creative moment in this timeline, in this experience, the gift, the exciting, the enthusiasm is that we have taken ourselves beyond that which we have done before. So this has been a moment that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We are in active, conscious co-creation. And the month of June has been carrying the energy of explosion, with this invitation and ease to be able to actually live, anchor, and stay present in the fifth dimension. And I think this is really important to talk about, especially in context of what just happened this past weekend.
Well, there's a lot to share.
There is.
And this last weekend, we've got some goodies for you, both visual and sharing. But
I'm talking about the solstice, honey.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I am.
Yeah. Which this past weekend was still this weekend. So I'm thinking the weekend before, and so much has happened, you'll understand why we're getting to it.
We are in a continual energetic here that in order to stay attuned to the flows that are going on, we sometimes lose track of the punctuations. The punctuations.
Yeah.
So picking up on the solstice then.
Yes, please.
One of the things that happened on the solstice was this invitation to look deeper, this invitation to be present in a new way to the energies that were truly birthing for us, because we had that weekend the return.
Right, and we have the big ring of fire.
And
so
the ring of fire,
here's what's important to remember. Do you mind if I just continue?
Yeah.
So here's what's important to remember is that the weekend of the 19th, we had that eclipse, we had the illuminated new moon with the Mercury retrograde weekend. So on the 19th, Mercury said, hey, guess what? I'm turning my back. Remember, we talked about this?
Yeah.
And so what happened on the 19th was that when Mercury anchored into this profound retrograde, it's very much a feminine energy, and it opened up the back of its own heart as like this transit portal for extremely easy access to be able to really go into the fifth dimension. But for those who are not aware of this, all they're going to feel is this energy of a turned back, and it's going to be like you're being repelled. And so this is another moment where we looked then, okay, that was the 19th. Then we came to the 20th. And on the 20th was the solstice, where Shri was just sharing that beautiful birthing, that womb, our seeds of creation ignited. If you saw our show last week, Bria Rose did that beautiful film on the seeds of creation. So our seeds of creation ignited, and we were all, and still are, birthing this anchor ship. But here's where it got really even more, if it could get even more amplified, right?
It does.
Right? It does, right? So on Sunday, the 21st, we had the eclipse, the solar eclipse. And remember, we taught this last week where this ring of fire, this illumination came in as a crown. And then we were invited to bring that to our third chakra so that we could really stabilize the first, second, and third chakras of this world so that we could release any remnant fear, release any remnant doubt, say yes to who we are. And on the 21st, when all of that came together, we ignited a cycle. It was like a chalice. And this is why Shri and I are going to, hey, we can roll. And you can see our background. So this is what brings us to today's background. So you see this beautiful spiraling energy. Well, this is, and then you see over here, my beloved Shri is in all of this wonderful ascension energy frequency. And over here is living out here in this fifth dimensional presence. What happened was, you see the big illuminated heart here right in the center? On the 21st, through the Lion's Gate of 8-8, we opened up what I want to call like a subcycle. So from June 21 through August 8, we are in a cycle right now where, because of what happened on the 19th, 20th, and 21st, the 33rd crystalline dimension, and that's what this is representing, has come in. And between this chalice energy of June 21 through August 8, we are in an open moment where, imagine between my hands right now, the 33rd dimension is just pouring out to you and saying, my love, it is your time. And this open heart, you see right there, it's all about the ascended heart, holds open the exploded crown. Now, this is important to know as we move into July, because the exploded crown chakra, and we're going to talk a lot more about this in just a moment, and why this is so important, and we have visuals and diagrams and so much. When we open up our exploded crown, which is what I thought these felt like to me. I felt like this could be my exploded crown, and Shri has the other one, right? So here's our exploded crown chakra. Yeah. So as we say yes to our exploded crown chakra, then we anchor in the fifth dimension. Now, this brings us to July. And we started it right now. It is a month of experience energy. It is also the first month of profound shift that is actually coming in as a balance. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But the key is because the veil is lifting in a way that it has not lifted before. The veil that is lifting is the veil that will allow the amplification of the all. It's essentially the energy meeting the energy. We are in this uncharted territory. We are all co-creating. We have gone further than we have ever gone before. So we're being met with, oh, well, then we can amplify even more. We are beginning to release the veil of our own limitation and to really see the limitlessness of our nature. And the only way that that's going to be transited is not the only way. However, the way that it can be transited with abundance, with incredible clarity, joy, upliftment, is by stepping into the law of instantaneous manifestation as your natural state. Because the law of attraction is going to be amplified with greater potentiality of densification, whereas the law of instantaneous manifestation only exists once you anchor in the fifth dimension.
So it's important to circle back on a couple of these important points.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to say, especially for those of you that might be new to this broadcast, is that the ascended chakra system is anchored in the heart.
Right.
And so this is very congruent with all the great traditions. Go to the heart, love thy neighbor as thyself, etc. The heart is the root center of the ascended state. So as we release our preoccupation with safety, with competition, with egoic activities, it becomes quite natural to hang out in the place of acceptance, of tolerance, of unconditional trust in the divine. We recognize everything is sorting itself out. Well, from that place, this is the foundation, remember? So all the great traditions they get here, what we're saying is, okay, now that's the starting point of living an ascended life. And as our energy lifts up, we will discover that what was the traditional crown, which is like a lovely lotus sitting at the top of your head, it actually opens. Whoa, look at the light. It actually opens, thus making available the gateway for the journey home. The gateway to the 33rd dimension, which is up here on this screen, and beyond. So this is part of what I want to make sure we have a little bit of a mental grasp on, because your energy will track with it once you do it.
So let's show you that graphic, okay, guys? And then I want to go back and show you the July graphic as well. But since we're here right now, Shri, let's go right here and talk about that. So guys, what you're staring at on your screen right now is the full Divine Galactic Blueprint. What is the Divine Galactic Blueprint? The Divine Galactic Blueprint is your ascended chakra system. It is the 12-pointed system of ascended presence. It is the yoga of self-ascension. As you practice the yoga of self-ascension, this is what becomes ignited. This is where you live, essentially, because you are able and capable to transit multidimensional experience, multidimensional timelines, all of it, while carrying a body of form. However, it does demand the yoga, in our experience, we understand it as the yoga of self-ascension. Now, I want you to look at the close-up there. What you are staring at is, if you look at the big Divine Galactic Blueprint there, the full one, this is what Shri was just talking about. It begins with the first point, the root center of your ascended presence is your ascended heart, and it actually anchors when you call it in as a double infinite.
Yep. Two spirals of energy, one horizontal spiral and one vertical spiral that actually connects Earth to the heaven. Because that vertical spiral can, in your meditative experience, extend and provide you with the connection to the upper chakras.
And what you'll see here is that when you do that, you have the emerald and the gold. So it ignites a profound, you see the energy there, the way the energy is coming out and supporting. And if you look at the big Divine Galactic Blueprint, what you see is the direct energy from the heart, the ascended heart, that feeds into the right and left side of the exploded crown. And so now when you go back and you're looking at that close-up, you notice that's violet and it has a pyramid shape. And you want to relax and start noticing that each one of the points also has its own energetic spin. And that this goes in, this goes out, this goes up, this goes down. It is not linear. However, this is the state of living in the fifth dimension. And those of you that are currently with us on Monday Magic know this, right? This is what we're teaching every Monday night. So if you want to know more, join us tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this gives your brain and perhaps the deeper wisdom the reminder that the energetics of the ascended state begin here and lift up to connect to the cosmos.
Exactly.
And we haven't even gotten to the law of instantaneous manifestation yet.
It's a huge show today.
What's important to recognize is your fifth dimensional energy can touch the earth, provided the doorway of love is open, and can touch the cosmos, provided your trust in your divine nature is open or active. So we have the love that is non-judgmental as the foundation for connecting into the ascended realms.
Exactly.
Now, what Kira shared earlier is really important, and that is that we are at a time on this planet, you could call it a crossroads, but it's more like a layered experience, where either people are aligned with the egoic understandings of themselves and the world. And egoic it means just that. It's I am separate, and sometimes I have groups. and I am, anyway, I don't want to get into a big teaching around that, but I want to say there is the egoic layer or strata of interaction that includes some very loving activities. This isn't solamente, there's Spanish. This isn't only ego in the sense of selfishness. This is an orientation toward the world and the cosmos. Then there is the ascended strata, which is that place of forgive them, they know not what they do, that place of love them, that place of trust in the divine. And it's a refined layer that can evolve from that density ego place. So once you get that there are some stratas of experience, then we can say the law of attraction begins in the egoic understanding of energy. That I recognize there is such a thing as energy, and that I can command energy, and that what I focus on seems to get bigger, and
that
those
most
things.
of the wants and needs are fairly density based. They're usually about money and things of that nature.
Right.
Right. Wants.
So the law of attraction is indeed a practice of energy management. The law of instantaneous attraction is manifestation, is feedback that you're holding an ascended energy.
Really?
Because catch the difference there.
Yeah, really
one is I'm intending to manifest, which means I'm separate and I have a need.
And I want to attract.
Or a desire.
Not even manifest, it's about attracting. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a manipulative tone to that.
Right.
The instantaneous manifestation is the feedback that, yes, I'm in the ascended state, and that which is required for my soul's journey will appear.
It's the alchemical process of the yoga of self-ascension. The law of instantaneous manifestation is whereby you are living in the divine presence of your own divine mastery, absolutely in complete trust, knowing that literally as you think it occurs, because it's not your thought. It's the divine intuitive filter. Yeah. It's the relaxation of that which seeks to decide how it should be into the flow of that which is. And
nice.
That is such an extraordinary moment of awareness. And June, I want to go back now and talk more about these specifics. June is very much what? A month of awareness explosion. It wasn't just awareness, it was an awareness explosion. Yes. And we have been in this explosion energy all month long. It has been building, building, building. We also had 2 up-level moments in June, and one of them was one of only 3 for the total peak for the year. Now, you may say, but Kira, we still have a couple days left of June, and the answer is yes, we do. This particular week is, like I lose my breath sharing it with you, it's that moment to say yes to the awareness experience. So I want you to really breathe that in. Remember, June 21, last Sunday, ignited a cycle that will stay here from August till August 8th, when the Lion's Gate roars. And the way I've been describing it is, the way I see the Lion's Gate right now is that I see this beautiful, empowered, it feels like a Vishnu energy to me, with a discus. And the discus is just spinning, spinning, spinning right now. And there's just this moment of the eyes are closed and it's almost like a trance. But on the 8th, I see the eyes opening and the discus being released. And so this is a very powerful moment. And during this moment, the rise of the divine feminine, and this is why the whole solstice was so important, this moment of planting seeds and birth and coming forward and saying yes. The divine feminine, not singularly women, the divine feminine is going to have a huge presence between June 21 and August 8 in the Lion's Gate. And so this is also a moment whereby every being on the planet, it's a moment to look at the feminine nature within. How that expresses, is it in balance? How is that coming forward? And I'm sharing this because it opened last Sunday. We're already in the presence. How many of you are finding your feminine masculine balance might be really called this past week since the 21st? I have seen in myself my own energies of, wow, what's trying to. So remember, this is happening in the space of the time stamping. We are still actively time stamping, which is why this 33rd dimensional support has come forward right now. We are in this chalice of creation. The chalice came forward. Imagine that on June 21st, through that beautiful ring of fire and that opportunity to really bring that energy in to say and claim who we are, has brought us to this moment, this week, right now, into a awareness experience. So everything that's happening this week, we are transiting from an awareness month into an experience month. And I'm going to go ahead and put up the July Uplevel calendar right now because it's really not there.
What happened?
So I don't know. My husband supposedly did. We have June in here twice. Let's try again. Let me try another one. Let's see. Maybe we have it under.
No, it was there. I'll load it up.
Here's the June. Okay. Well, okay. I'll let you load it up, Shri, because we really need to see it.
Yeah.
So let me talk about June while he's loading that up. So as you're looking at the June calendar right now, you'll notice that we are on the 28th. So if you look at the 21st, the 21st was last Sunday, and that was what? It was the illuminated new moon plus that beautiful solar eclipse coming together. It was the masculine and the feminine in pure balance. It was the moon revealing the womb and saying yes, and then coming together.
Now I can drop this one right on top of that.
Go ahead. And so now we're going to go to July, and here we are. And thank you, my love, for making that happen. So let's look. On the 5th, 1 week from today, and we will be live on the air doing an up-level ceremony next week. Mark your calendars, be here. We already have another up-level coming. And so you realize that's only 2 weeks apart from that peak up level we had on the 21st that opened up and anchored this chalice with the 33rd dimensional support until the Lion's Gate opens on 8/8. If you look at the July energy, I want you to look right up at the top at what the Essene brethren have said. Listen to your own heart.
Yes.
Listen to your own heart. This is why the June anchoring in the 5th dimension is so important, because in July, it is going to be your own heart that will guide you through. And what is the energy of this month? I've already talked about it. Profound shift. We are shifting again. And if you look at the calendar right here, next Sunday we have another eclipse, only it's a full moon eclipse that balances that solar eclipse that happened last Sunday. So we've got this 14-day period. And then that Saturday, look at the frame of next week. Mercury retrograde ends, and that will be another up-level moment. If you also look at the calendar, those of you that are familiar with the up-level calendar know that this was the calendar that came through from the divine directors, and we were invited to craft and offer out to you. Each month, the graphic is placed based on the energy of the month. And this is the other reason why it's so important. If you look right now at Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, until we get to July 1st, it is the heart of the ascended presence, right? And you see the rainbow and all the wings. June was about anchoring into the 5th dimension. And right now, in this moment, they're saying to you, anchor your ascended heart, free your wings, get ready to fly. And look at the month of cosmic creation and the water of creation and the flow and the abundance. This is a month where literally, and I mean literally, the veil, all the veils of our own limitations will be removed. And in that chalice energy and the support of the 33rd dimension, which is going to be actively here, we will drink from the cup on the Lion's Gate. That's the 8/8. But this cup is yours right now. It's been placed on your altar. And so what are you ready to call forward? And in this moment, this week, what is your awareness experience? Now, this gets even deeper with everything that started happening with the ensoulments that have already come in.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we get there, I just want to address something.
Please.
And that is that that energy itself is always universal. Energy is always neutral. So for those that are on a path of consciousness awakening, a path of self-ascension, everything Kira described is the opportunity before you.
Right.
For those that are immersed
density.
in the density consciousness,
where we're
meaning the
going.
mass traditional orientations,
Right.
the energy is available for all beings. So what happens now is that what they're desiring, what they're wanting to call forward, even if it creates polarity, opposition, or other forces, that has an opportunity to magnify as well. So you're going to see.
Well, let's talk about that. Can we talk about that?
You bet.
Okay, so this is important to talk about because, and again, I invite you to go to ShriNkira.com, right on the homepage, read the article about the 6 steps for navigating the spiral right now. Because remember that everything's the spiral energy. The forces of the all in this moment are beyond anything that has ever been. And this is why there has been such a strong, beautiful, loving presence this entire year. Yeah. All of 2020 has been the universe coming in. And as a matter of fact, let me do this as part of the energy overlays. I'm sure we still have that. There it is. Okay, so as you look at this right now, do you see July? July has that square around it, and this is what I started talking about earlier, and this is why what's happening in density is going to be so intense. This is the first month of profound shift, and it's a 2-month cycle. It will be July and August, because in August, remember, we're going to have that 8/8 Lionsgate roar in August combined with some other energies, and we will continue with profound shift in September, if you look at the other half of this diagram. However, the September shift, even though we're in a 3-month cycle of July, August, and September, while they will all carry the energy of profound shift, it's July and August that are going to reflect their own energy of profound shift. And when we get to September, that will be the profound shift energy that will stabilize the opening of 2020, January and February. So this is important to pay attention to, because what you're going to be literally looking at is how that balance is coming in. 2020 is the year of perfect balance. All the energy flows of the year are about being able to navigate profound shift, visionary transformation through timeline adaptation, and rapid awakening. More people are going to awaken to higher levels than were ever possible because of what's happening. However, it will only be those who are saying yes to that call within their heart. And that is why there is, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this with the ensoulment that came in yesterday, that's incredible. There is a moment before us where, and in July, and maybe we should talk about the ensoulment because I think it kind of says more than we can, but this moment in July is going to be about the darkest dark and the brightest bright. Yeah. And it's going to specifically go after the feminine. It's going to have a real heavy masculine tantrum and really try to anchor victim consciousness. And so I want to talk about the victim consciousness right now, because this is also something that is going to be very important to pay attention to during this time.
And so we have talked many times about the dominant energy of density is that victim triangle that includes the roles of victim, abuser, and rescuer. And these roles are learned at our dinner table, especially on Thanksgiving holidays.
Oh, I think they're learned from birth. I mean, this is density consciousness.
And it is the natural result of an emotionally based separation consciousness. It says, oh, I've been abused, someone else wants to rescue, and I'm a victim, etc. Well, those Velcro moments bind one to a certain experience, and that is that layer of density consciousness. As we begin to grow, or evolve, is better said, we evolve both emotionally and spiritually, and we begin to access what we refer to as ascended forgiveness, is the recognition that I can let go of the past. It's just that, it's past, and that I can release the people that I held judgments toward or hurts, because I choose to live as an ascended being enjoying now. And so what happens is there's a natural evolution where the victim can become a teacher, the rescuer transcends into the healer, and the abuser actually becomes one who can mentor others.
And all of these are fluid. So in other words, it's not that a victim always becomes a teacher. You are all of these in all of these experiences. Now, the reason that we created this specific graphic is because, as Shri was just talking about earlier, with the allness and the way that all of this is coming forward, I want you to gaze into the center of the triangle right now. Are you being pulled in, or are you feeling it come out? Is the spiral calling you further into the spiral, or is the spiral literally coming out to meet you? Are you exhaling or are you inhaling? What are you noticing? The reason we created this graphic is that everything is in this spiral energy right now. You have been handed this chalice with an invitation to receive from the 33rd crystalline dimension, this loving crystalline energy that anchored on the 21st and put that chalice together and said, I am handing you this chalice to be with between now and 8/8, the Lion's Gate, when that chalice will transform. In that energy, in density right now, the victim, abuser, rescuer is playing out in ways that have never played out before. And this is density consciousness. When you are angry or upset, whoever you are blaming is your abuser. Whoever you are complaining to that you want to reassure you that you are right to be in your judgment is your rescuer. And if you are the one lashing out and giving then you're the victim. However, just because that may be the way one scenario plays out, oftentimes, if you have been in your victim energy long enough, you must become a rescuer in order to move. It doesn't mean you're improving. It means you're shifting roles within the same dynamic. And this dynamic is being empowered. This is what the July energy will use your brain to keep, is that you will be your own victim, rescuer, abuser, and you will need to pay attention to that which is keeping you stuck in this. Or you can invite yourself to witness it. And when you feel you are the victim, invite yourself to go into your higher self and notice the pattern. We are also at a moment where that cycle can be completely freed and lifted and transcended as you embody your truth. When you say yes to who you are, you can only be the teacher, mentor, healer. It's all you can be because it is the divine expression of service and form.
Exactly.
It's who you are.
The victim energy is grounded in the fear of being alone, the fear of your independence, so-called aloneness. The ascended triangle is rooted in the foundational recognition that all is one and that love is, and that service is joy.
Wholeness.
And so these are evolutionary processes. They are one energy. The victim, abuser, rescuer is one energy, and we circulate among the three. Similarly, the teacher, healer, mentor is one energy,
exactly.
And we offer service through those faces.
And so consider that, of course, victim, now really take this in, victim, rescuer, abuser, right? That triangle there needs a dogmatic tradition with saviors. It needs somebody to come in, because in that triangle, in the victim, rescuer, abuser triangle, there is absolutely no tolerance for empowerment. And that non-tolerance begins in your own mind, in your own belief patterns, in your own situation. You are the master. And so in order to really accept your mastery, to have that compassion about yourself, to love yourself enough to anchor in your fifth dimensional exploded crown energy, that is the moment whereby you free yourself from the need to ever be saved. There is nothing that you need to be saved from. Perhaps only your mind, right? There is nothing you need to be saved from. Fear comes from the victim, does it not? Is a victim not always afraid of being abused, right? Is the abuser afraid of being discovered? Is the rescuer afraid of looking at their own life, so they'd rather make sure everybody else's life is okay, or do everything they can to feel good about themselves by taking care of others, even when they know it's not of the highest? So think about the entrapment. I'm just going to put it up for one more second again, just to really put it in front of all of you. Think about how entrapping it is to be living in victim, abuser, rescuer. And victim, abuser, rescuer actually continues all the way up through spiritual activism. Because in spiritual activism, blame and anger still exist. In spiritual activism, my savior is the only savior, and you're going to go to hell because you don't believe like me. That is victim consciousness. To truly be the teacher, mentor, healer is to live as the truth of who you are. And this is why in July, right now, I love that the Essene remind us, listen to your heart. And this is why, as we mentioned earlier, the choices right now, are you listening to your physical heart or are you listening to your ascended heart? Because the physical heart right now is being challenged by doubt and fear. And that doubt and that fear is exponentially expanding as the dependence on savior mentality in the allness is expanding. All dogmatic traditions are anchoring right now because they must, because all 100% of dogmatic traditions are born of all of our co-creative, co-collective power in this timeline, in this moment of our co-creative limitlessness. And in July, that veil of self-imposed limitation has been lifted, which means that when the all comes forward, it's going to entrench. And so where in that spiral will you find yourself? If you are in the victim, rescuer, abuser triangle, you're in your mind of density, and the heart of density will be directly affected.
Yeah.
If you are in the teacher, mentor, healer, you are living in your fifth dimensional compassion, thereby able to call in the inspiration for the action in form that can truly have profound shift of balance. Remember, the year of perfect balance, where this is all about balance.
You know, it's important to recognize that you know how to do both. You know how to be the victim. We all learned that one.
Yes.
We know how to be selfish. We know how to be competitive and hurtful.
Absolutely.
And we have come to an understanding of the discomfort that is associated with those energies. We also know how to live an ascended life. It's in our DNA. The key here is to continue to express your willingness to trust your divine nature, to express your willingness to trust your divine nature by making informed choices, by being present to the energies and experiences. And this is why this intersection between June and July right now is the awareness and the experience are coming forward so that we can make ascended choices. Allness, this is another one I want to make sure everyone walks away with a clear understanding.
Yeah, good.
Allness is the infinite capacity to create. You and you and you and me and all of us are creative beings, and we can create anything.
Yeah, we already have, right? And we keep doing it.
And you take a look at the creations of humanity, the creations on the planet, this is a reflection of the allness. The oneness is the ability to look through the artifacts, the individual expressions, and recognize the fabric that allows the individuated, polarized experiences to exist. They're held together by something. Mm-hmm. That's the oneness. So as we begin to train ourselves to see the oneness, we do reclaim our mastery. Mm-hmm. And as we move forward with that, we then begin to hold on to the compassion that will recognize that many people don't have that recognition working, that they're dancing in the polarity, good, bad, higher, lower. And what happens in a world that is seeking to gain control over others, control over resources and others, polarity is a weapon. Polarity is used to create allegiances, alignments, and to harness energy for the law of attraction. And it's no secret for anyone that's been around a few cycles that every 4 years in the United States, where my history came from, I was always fascinated by how unified the political parties became, and how the marching drum and everyone got all excited, and the next president of the United States is, and they were using the law of attraction in a collective to seek to influence the greater fabric of experience. Yep. And now I smile at that and say, of course they are. How could it be otherwise? That's the way it works. And so it's important to hold on to your joy and anchor in your ascended heart, which will say and recognize that all beings have the right to learn, to grow, and to evolve.
Well, and that also, can I just expand on that? Because when all beings have the right is the first step toward releasing judgment.
Yes.
Because it's not about even holding that all have the right. It's about and that is the step. It is the release into the compassionate energy of your absolute fifth dimensional presence to see the blessing of the allness. The allness is the blessing of our divine nature. And while we are here in form, imagine how bliss-filled, how bless-filled your life is as you engage in the law of instantaneous manifestation from the space of the lack of the doubt of the truth of who you are. Yeah. And in order to do that sincerely, it is the moment you step into the truth of yourself as the teacher, mentor, healer. Prior to that, there will always be a victim, rescuer, healer happening. And this is what _𝐜𝐿 𝐊𝐢𝐿 says so eloquently in our book, Sacred Union, The Journey Home, which I encourage you to read, that this is the pain of the pain, the habit of the habit of the pain that we often experience with our partners in pain, which are those that are with us in that loop. All of those friends, all of those relationships, all of them, they are all inside that loop. It's not mutually exclusive. When we break free of that is when we meet those who have also broken free. When we are seeking nothing because all is within, everything comes forward. So breathe that one in. The more we release, the more we receive. And so I want to share that we are in the moment also of here at TOSA Blue Mountain and here in Ecuador, we are just having extraordinary things happening. As you all know, we have been very, very blessed to keep up with all of you on an even greater pace. This is why we unveiled Monday Magic, which is every Monday night. Also very, very blessed if you have not been to wwaglobal.com. Get there, register, join us. The minute you say yes, and remember, we're going to roar on the Lion's Gate. That's when we begin our 4-week journey through August, because in August, we are all going to need to be lions together. And so join us, get in there. And the minute you do, you have access to our private area where Shri and I and Jess Jutonen have all been in there and saying hello and helping to support that as well.
It's really an intentional act to say, I choose to stand in my empowered mastery.
Yep.
And all during the month of August, we're going to be there with you as mentors,
we
as
are going to be
as
together.
Cheerleaders, and onward.
Yep.
Because one thing I learned long ago is we can recognize what is appropriate or right or good or what we desire. We can recognize it, but to take action is a commitment of courage and trust. One thing to notice, another to take action. And action is the hallmark of your mastery. When we say, yes, I will, and I take action, whether it's to join a training, whether it's to shift something in your life, whether it's to stick around and be in the energy of this recognition in this community, that's an action step. And we applaud you that when you do take action, what you're saying to the universe is, I trust myself. I trust myself.
And we trust you. And we were all here at TOSA Blue Mountain. Lots of things have been happening. And one of the things that came forward before we get to this ensoulment, because this ensoulment is going to guide us through the whole second half of the show, and we'll be taking your calls as well. We have a video all about this ensoulment. Today's video is very much just about the ensoulment. You want to watch the whole thing. But what's so beautiful is that all of you are helping the work of the Yoga of Self-Ascension to get out there. And we are very grateful because we are not a big corporation. We do not have big corporate sponsors. We could have, but we said no. We said no because we trusted you. We trusted that when the contracts are put in front of you and you become nothing more than a name in a database for a money funnel, that I just couldn't, with all my consciousness, say yes, and neither could Shri.
No, we're not a product.
We're not, you are not a product, right? But and realize that part of what's happening right now is there are a lot of heavily funded teachers who could care less about you. You've never talked to them once, even though you think you have. They have staffs of people who do everything for them. They are not that. And they are serving their purpose. I mean, cool. If that has called to you, then get every ounce of spiritual discernment you're meant to get. There is
Magic
a teacher
word.
for everyone, right?
Every teacher will help you hone your discernment.
Yeah. And so if you're watching this show, if you connect with us on Soul Mirrors on Tuesday nights, also on all of these channels at 5 p.m. Pacific, join us Monday nights for Monday Magic, which you can join us for a love donation of $0 if you choose. And for all of you that have offered love donations, we have so many people that are eating because of you. We're going to be doing more food shares coming up in the next few days and get more pictures out to all of you. We have refugees that have not homes, but they have places to sleep at night. Their children are sleeping. Thank you. And so what Shri and I were invited to do, and this was from our beautiful co-creative team over at wwaglobal.com, headed up by Christine Purvis, who we love and adore, and who offered us her heart in creating the website. It's a real community gathering here, guys, with Aparna Tambidurai, who's now here in Ecuador full-time, and of course our beautiful Bria Rose. Everyone came together and said, hey, Shri and Kira, you have the best audience in the world, which we do. You guys are amazing. And they said, why don't we invite everyone to help everyone in this month of allness and opportunity? And so if you visit any of our social media pages, you need to do a like. I don't know how this works. I'm hoping Bria Rose is in the chat. She sent me an email I completely did not understand, and you guys know that's me. But here's the essential part of it. What Shri and I are offering, and this contest is going to be running all through July, and we will announce the winner on the air in the beginning of August. But for every time you share about, I believe it's a share of WWA Global, OneNessTalkRadio.com, and ShriandKira.com. I believe that every time you share that, you will get a registration into this contest. And what we are offering is what everyone decided to call 15 Minutes in Heaven. And it is a 15-minute live, personal, one-on-one video Zoom with you and Shri and I, and it's your 15 minutes.
Yeah,
we can chat, we can offer you a reading, we can listen, we can answer questions. So it's your 15 minutes, and we are excited to meet with you and thank you for helping us to spread the word.
And that's really it. Is time to continue to invite other people to touch in and see what's going on in this energy and these offerings. Each will make their own decision. However, the invitation, we need your help. Let's get the word out.
I kind of giggle that we're like the Bernie Sanders campaign. We're out there and we are sharing and have been sharing for over 18 years and have never compromised once. And because of that, we don't have the big heavy sponsors. And so help us help everyone. If this work resonates with you, if you'd like to get a chance to be in the contest, then let's spread the word, because honestly, together we are better. Yeah. Together we are better. And Shri, it brings me to, I want to set up what happened yesterday. Okay. I think we should talk about it. So let's begin with yesterday morning. I don't know how many of you have been feeling this, but since the 21st, remember it was last Sunday was the 21st. We're in mid-cycle right now, this Sunday, and then next Sunday we up-level again. So think about that. We're in the middle of these two massive up-level moments. It's almost like a pyramid. We're in like the mid-pyramid strata right now. And so I've been really nauseous since this anchored. And I have been finding that when I spend too much time in my third dimensional body, all I feel is nausea. And when I stay really anchored in the ascended presence, phenomenal. And this peaked so much that yesterday I could not accompany my husband and our beloved beauties here on what turned out to be a spectacular moment for all of us, and even more about what's happening in July.
And so I want to put quotation marks when she said she couldn't accompany us.
Right, in person, in form. Thank you. Yeah, no, that's really important to share.
One of the things we've learned is that there are no boundaries.
Meaning? Because there's lots of boundaries.
Well, there's levels of understanding, but energy has no boundaries, and that our consciousness has no boundary, and that we can connect with anybody, anywhere, anything, any place, any time, because it all exists in the cosmic now. And so that is available as we're able to relax our need and our habit to individuate into this body, this time, this moment, these punctuations that we use to help tick-tock through density.
Well, and I want to jump in on that you and I are so rarely separated, that our telepathic communication is so strong, that also it's like we really are able to connect with each other and what they're doing. Yeah.
And so what happened is we had a wonderful invite to go to one of the most ancient archaeological sites in Ecuador.
Parts of this are over 8,000 years old, guys.
And it has a fabulous history.
Incredible.
And it's a site that has not been excavated. So it requires that you kind of walk meditatively to be open to what is wanting to be revealed, because on the surface there's some stones and walls, and we have photos. You'll see.
We have photos. We actually have a movie we're going to play for you in just a moment.
So this site is called 𝐿𝐻𝐻, and it is a 𝐾𝐚𝐲 site, and the 𝐾𝐚𝐲 predated the Inca. So for those of you that kind of tracked with the South,
and that's the tribe we live among. They're still here.
And so the 𝐾𝐚𝐲 were the resident group, call it, the tribe. The Inca came in to dominate and spread the Incan Empire, and the people resisted them, and quite successfully, actually. And then the Spaniards came in, the conquistadors.
These amazing people.
And so there's stories in history, and we can share that with you when you come here and that. But that's the surfacey stuff. What is beneath the surface is the recognition that, like many indigenous cultures, there was a cosmic understanding in the unfiltered experience of the ancestors of the ancestors.
Well, I want to jump in and say that I found it very fascinating that just notice what you're noticing. Just 2 days ago, the 𝐾𝐚𝐲 crown, gold 𝐾𝐚𝐲 crown, look this up if you want to, and it's beautiful. It's just these big rays of sun and illumination, was actually taken from here and given to Queen Victoria. And just a few days ago, they have requested its return.
Ecuador asked for it back.
So there is a rise in this illuminated 𝐾𝐚𝐲 energy that's going to really be important in a moment.
Yeah. So we hopped in the van, and Kira stayed home. And was resting a bit while we headed off that morning, just 2 mornings ago, and took a drive through some wonderful towns. I'll tell you the names of them because it's fun to hear different names. We drove through Huachapala, 𝐬𝐼𝐸𝐿, Chordaleg, and 𝐬𝐿𝐸𝐿𝐿.
That's where they wound up, was in 𝐒𝐫𝐢.
And then we got to the site, and we're grateful that the country of Ecuador has marked this site as for preservation, and it has not been excavated.
Right. So as they were driving, I was really unable to get out of bed, and I kept having this overwhelming go get in your bathtub and bring the iPad, and I actually have a little stand for my tub because that happens occasionally. But it was compelling, and it wasn't coming from like, gee, I think I should do that. It was more like, this is what you need to do. And honestly, I resisted it. I resisted it for almost about an hour because I was incapable of getting out of bed. And then, and I have the original right here, at 11:07 a.m., I wrote it down, at 11:07 a.m., Saturday, June 27, I was in the tub and I wrote, and you'll see in just a moment, strong sense to connect with the group at 𝐿𝐻𝐻 as the July energy begins to unveil. Well, everything was coming in massive, massive, massive droves. I was completely out of body, gone. At 11:19, as I'm typing on my notepad, on my iPad, it pops up from Sri a picture of the Cueva Negra. Now, the Cueva Negra is the black cave, which is part of this site and has an extremely and powerful history. They had just been at the Cueva Negra when I had just literally typed the last word of what you're going to see and receive in just a moment. And then we were talking, going back and forth. I was trying to get this to him. And I was like, Sri, you have got to read this while you are there to anchor it. Yeah. And we know we have to share it with all of you today, because there's a whole lot more than what you're going to see right now. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still integrating it. Yeah. However, this piece was for all of us. And as you watch this film that was put together by Bria Rose and myself, you'll see where they're going, how we're getting there. And I would encourage you to just relax. It's a short 6.5-minute film that includes Sri reading this ensoulment for the very first time in the 𝐭𝐡𝐞𝐚𝐯. Mm-hmm. And the 𝐭𝐡𝐞𝐚𝐯, which is when he got this, is after you've been through the main site, right? So by the time this got to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so, our group had been kind of tuning in and walking and being with the energies. And then this wonderful message came from Kira saying, this is what I have brought through. I've connected with. This is the gift. And so it was time to share that with everybody.
And the other thing that's important to understand, and before we run this film, is that why was this so important for all of us right now? Well, here's the symbolism. As you know, we were very clearly called that we had to do the 444 activation on the solstice from here in Ecuador in this beautiful, perfect balance, equator energy on our planet. And we did. We all accomplished that. Well, it was on that day that Alessandra and Adriana shared with us that they had recently been here and that there is property that they are going to be acquiring that literally you see in this video, and that they felt strongly it could be like a satellite TOSA at this mountain, that they had felt something there, and they have this beautiful divine connection with the weaving community. They'll be able to help the people that live in that village the way we're helping the people that live in this village. And so it started on that day. Mm-hmm. And it was exactly the following Saturday. Remember, we had that Uplevel. And so on that Saturday, we were here in Ecuador doing that with all of you. Then the following Saturday, which was yesterday, they all went to 𝐿𝐻. Today is that middle Sunday in between next week. So everything is just, it feels to me like it's just like lining up. Well, here's what's so power-filled about 𝐿𝐻 and why 𝐿𝐻 has remained so protected and guarded. And hint, hint, we're taking our group there. Cosmic Origins, people. You'll be here. You're the first group we're taking. And so here's the gift. When the king, and forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, but I believe it was the king of the 𝐼𝐢𝐿𝐻, which are incredible people with an incredible history, knew this was kind of like their last stand. Yeah. Literally, the entire people came together and went to the energy center that they felt would give them the greatest divine connection and that would help them. And sure enough, they sustained things. They did eventually fall, but not the way the others did. And you know the 𝐼𝐢𝐿𝐻 today, although many have never heard of them. Everybody thinks about the Inca. The 𝐼𝐢𝐿𝐻 predate them and are still here. And so there was this massive energy while you were there and walking through that we were literally in real time. And so as you watch our short video, we want you to just know all the setup so that the video will hopefully make more sense. And we're going to come right back in after the video, and we're going to take all of your calls, and we're going to talk more about what this ensoulment is going to reveal. Take in a breath and let yourself receive. We'll be back in 6.5 minutes.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Hey, beautiful community. Today is a special day because we're going on a TOSA Blue Mountain road trip. Yay!
the July energy begins to unveil. The palace of the gods of the light is reassembling at the time of the great culmination. This is an unveiling of the divine illumination that has been in stasis here, waiting for the reassembly of those who have been here before and have held the sacred energy of this temple as the heart of the oneness within and in all ways. Let go and simply listen, receive, write. We are here and we are ready to assist you to realize your warrior nature of the spirit through the moment of illumination at hand. All illuminates. The darkest dark is the illumination of the perception of the dark. The crystalline light that dissolves the illusion as it frees the spirit to reunify is the full illumination of the perception of the light. That's very powerful. I'm going to read that again. The darkest dark is the illumination of the perception of the dark. The crystalline light that dissolves the illusion as it frees the spirit to reunify is the full illumination of the perception of the light. So you may ponder, why do we offer you the language of a warrior nature in both the dark and the light? Breathe in and notice what you are noticing. What is calling your attention? And are you paying attention to that which is calling? This awareness of the June explosion of 2020 is culminating as the full illumination of the dark and the light. Through the experience of July, this energy will then begin the expanded call for the warrior nature of spirit to arise within the all and for the all to arise. All beings are at a moment of co-creative experience that will offer the greater depth of connection to that which is the illumination of spirit in motion. All are having their needs met as they call to themselves the energy of need, and all are receiving as they call forward the energy of receiving. Receive, receive, receive. Uplift, uplift, uplift.
Oh, receive, receive, receive.
Uplift, uplift, uplift.
And just breathe that in and welcome back. And wow, so much to share and your calls. I'm excited about this moment.
Absolutely. And for those of you that were tuning into this, the video pieces here, I want to offer something that I experienced at this site, which was, it's important to notice yourself noticing. Where does your attention go? And I spent my call it the first section of time noticing with the eyes of this world. I was looking at the archaeological formations. I was looking at how the cave was structured and how.
Well, can I share?
Yeah.
The reason I want to share is, so we mentioned in the first half of the show, at 11:07, I am like propelled to get into a tub and start typing. At 11:19, what I did not share in the first half of the show was that along with a picture to the entrance of the cave, my husband's email said, "Peaceful place, no energy here." And so I'm telling on Shri because it startled me. I was like, yeah, but you got to read this. It's hiding. And that's what we want to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, my experience was the energy wasn't as visceral as 𝐒𝐫𝐢 and other sites that we take our visitors to. So at first glance, it was, well, this is very peaceful and lovely. However, the energy did not feel viscerally strong to me. Then I observed, especially after the stimulation of this ensoulment, that, wait a minute, it's all dormant. This, I actually was given a visual of the tapestry of the earth as a blanket which was protecting and allowing a dormancy to exist of a very potent energy beneath the surface.
Well, can I jump in because I'm so excited? So it makes me giddy as he's sharing this, because then we started getting in quicker communication. I was like, yeah, and this is coming through, and this is coming through. Here's what's so beautiful. So this site has been recognized, has a little cute little museum there, but it's all closed. If you want to go to the museum, you literally call the caretaker. And so nobody goes to it because this was one of those sites that was waiting for this moment. Oh. And it's what 𝐼𝐥 𝐷𝐿 has always said. You will not be known by your words. You will be known by your presence. So what was so beautiful is, imagine that you are just being you. You all just saw that beautiful cave, right? You know, all the pictures of Shri and everything. You were there with sincerity, love, and presence. Yeah. All of them were there in sincerity, love, and presence. Everyone that you were connecting with. And because of that, you didn't even know. It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, right? You had no idea that the factory was saying, are you worthy of me? Mm-hmm. in that way. And then just when they were almost complete and ready to go was when I get the first picture from Shri, literally as the final uplift had just been written. I kid you not. I had just said uplift and I was getting ready to lean back to the tub when his email popped up and I was like, oh my gosh, everything unfolded.
And so it was humbling to me and informative to recognize when I began to witness what I was witnessing, I watched myself imposing, like I shared earlier, the eyes of this world, the more superficial lens, so to speak, of experiencing this site. You know, my initial intention was, well, if we take people here, what will they experience? And I'm looking at it from the guy.
Oh my gosh!
Then you might remember a picture in this little video of a rock that actually had a separation, a carved line through it. It looks like an old rock that might have split in half, but the split was exact.
No, it's a laser cut.
And so this was, I didn't even notice the rock on the way in. So we walked through the site. We had the ensoulment. We began to go deeper. We began to meditate, began to look beneath the surface, walked back to that rock. And what I experienced and other members of the group experienced is this was a gateway, a portal. Yeah. And that when we stood there and just relaxed and went into the energy of that gateway, I was all of a sudden going, oh my God, we're at the steeple of the temple. It's all underneath the earth. Yep. And it's all there, and here is a door. And I just smiled. I said, okay, so it's all here to be discovered for those who are willing and want to discover. Close these eyes and open your perception.
Heart, listen to your heart. Well, it's also the sincerity, love, and presence. And I also feel that the fact that you've been living in the 𝐭𝐤𝐢 world for 3 full years, that, you know, Shri and I have really dedicated ourselves to helping these people. Those of you that contribute to our indigenous projects here in Ecuador, we support the local 𝐭𝐤𝐢 tribes. And so it felt very power-filled. It is a cosmic presence. And we have already put out the call that we know we are to do ceremony there with wherever the ranking mama and taita are for that area, because we are to meet speaking different languages of this world so that we communicate in the language of the ascended presence, because we're at the moment where we are all igniting. And this ensoulment had to be read there first. Yeah. And thereby the recognition, and there's a couple things we want to unpack for you as we start going to the phone lines. And hey, feel free to ask us your questions, of course, your soul reading requests, Shri's extraordinary evasive medical intuitive advice, whatever you need. But the one thing that was said in this ensoulment from the divine directors was that this was the expanded call. What they're saying is, look, we've already called once. Now we're expanding. That means we're getting ready for the second wave. The expanded call is the second wave of everything. So in density, yes, there's going to be second waves of everything. And in some respects, they're going to be like tidal waves. Mm-hmm. Only they're going to be met by a very different energy this time. And so because of that, we are all, the expanded call is here. And this is why, and there's a lot more that's been written about this, and Sri and I are going to be sharing more about this Tuesday night on Soul Mirrors. It's going to be all about the warrior nature of your spirit. And so this warrior nature of the spirit is being expanded and called for. This is that 33rd crystalline dimension support that came in from that chalice that you are able to sip from. This is that kind of quiet Vishnu energy with the discus that's starting to amplify, that's going to wake up on 8/8 and start another spin. The reason they're using the language of the warrior nature of spirit is because your tenacity, your spiritual tenacity, your ability to trust your heart will be the warrior nature of this moment. If you are not the warrior, the champion, the 5-star general of your own spiritual nature, then there are other 5-star generals that have a lot more power that are happy to get you onto their team. So it's going to be one of those months where it's going to be a rock'em sock'em 5th or 3rd.
Absolutely.
And if you are unable to anchor, you are going to get and feel very tossy and turny. That's part of that nausea, right? You know, where am I? Make your choice. Living in the 5th dimension. Join us Monday nights. Check out Monday Magic tomorrow night. Yes, Sri, please. Good idea.
So I want to remind you of this wisdom offering. When people are afraid, they will give away their power. So just take that in for a moment, because you're witnessing that all throughout the mass consciousness of our shared world. When people are afraid, they will give away their power. When people are terrified, they will give away their soul.
Now really breathe that in, because one of the things that they were saying was about the light and the dark. That this is very much that moment where, you know, the allness. Do we have a problem?
No, I thought you were wanting the slide.
Sure. No, go to live camera. Sorry, guys, we're having a tech issue. Sorry about that. So this is the moment where they talked about in the ensoulment about the illumination and the light and the darkest dark and how that comes together. And yes, now we will go to the slide because we want to look at that exact language. And here it is right at the bottom of this page. You want to read that again, Sri?
The darkest dark is the illumination of the perception of the dark.
Now just breathe that. So the darkest dark is the illumination of the perception of the dark. What they are saying here is, this is when you become aware of the illusion, and it's so big in front of you that you either freak out and dive into it because you can't even comprehend it, or the next sentence.
The crystalline light that dissolves the illusion as it frees the spirit to reunify is the full illumination of the perception of the light.
So you are being invited to really that witness energy. Do we have that graphic still by any chance? The witness graphic?
I'm not sure. But
okay, go ahead, Sri. Yeah, I'll look.
I want to point out something here. Yeah, there it is.
Good.
Third
go
one.
ahead, yeah.
Is that the understanding of light and dark. Mm-hmm. One of the things that was so powerful about this wisdom sharing from the divine directors is that when we are awake to how dark it is, actually the light has illuminated our ability to perceive it.
You get it?
If we didn't have the light illuminating our ability to perceive it, we would have just been swept away in the darkness.
But do we use that illumination to get us angry again? See, that's one way we turn away from our illumination. Illumination ignites the awareness, right? How do we begin our ascension? Awareness. So the illumination ignites the awareness, but what do we do with the awareness? Sometimes we have the awareness and go, oh, hell no, right? And we just go the other way. What do you do? Because when you see it, it's when you are at the moment of and you don't even know you're making the choice. But it's when that trigger or that experience or that absolute moment of being comes before you that you either love yourself through it and see it for what it is, or that illumination becomes the catalyst of the dark, of that anger, guilt, shame. And this is why I want to flip to this graphic since we do have it.
Yeah.
This is why, how many years has it been now? What's the copyright on this? 2018. So since 2018, we have been inviting you to really pay attention that the third dimension is an experience where we can witness ourselves only. You know, this is what the power of now. All of that is to bring you to that moment where you are actually aware of you. However, that's just the beginning. And that's an amazing beginning, because once you're there, then it's about that loving yourself enough to call in the compassion that births your fifth dimensional presence as the witnesser. And June has been about this explosion of fifth dimensional presence. And if you look, one of the things we've shared is that you see how the angelic presence, you see the wings spread there? The fifth is the sacred chalice. You see that? The chalice is ignited. This is our fifth dimensional chalice. So we have been gifted from June 21 until August 8, Lion Gate, all of that above it. You see the 7th, the 9th, all the way up to the 33rd, the 5th is receiving as the chalice, with the unification of the 5th into our third body of form as the base of the chalice. You right now are receiving the cup. You have it. And so as you invite yourself to be the witnesser, then that beautiful energy of the 7th dimensional witnessing, bringing us to that 9th dimensional witness again, is how we are able to keep filling the cup. And we have had this 33rd dimensional energy come forward and say yes. And so one of the things about this inspiration, this dark versus the light, or dark, not even versus, this dark and light, is exactly, is that I'm going to go to the second half of this ensoulment, and I want to read what they said right here. Let's just start at the very beginning. Breathe in and notice what you are noticing. What is calling your attention, and are you paying attention to that which is calling? That is a very important discernment.
Yeah.
You know, that's really saying go deeper.
Absolutely.
And then they're specifically talking about right now, this awareness, because remember, we are in an awareness moment. So what they're saying is, are you aware? This awareness of the June explosion of 2020 is culminating as the full illumination of both the dark and the light. So that's extraordinary, because everything is being illuminated. So what is the gift of that? Here is the gift of that. It means that if everything is being illuminated, many that are still really in this dark experience, that's theirs to experience, are actually going to have an illumination of it, which means, what did Tree and I just share with you? One of two things will happen. They won't even really know they're making a choice. They will either get angrier and more polarized, or they will lift and go, oh my God, I finally see it. Now, how that can be more bounty-filled, and what a beautiful, to me, it's like we sent our radio signal out with the lineage holder gatherings and the solstice 444, and it's like, tell us how we can make this better. And they said back, okay, we're going to send in this great moment of illumination, but that means you got to really know who you are. So the more of us that can hold it, starting right now, that can hold this illumination, and I believe that's why you had to be in Chobshi, because it's a crystalline portal of light. Of course, that was why they went there. They knew they had their deepest cosmic connection, and they would have all of their guidance. Yep. And so that's what's happening, is we are each being called to activate the temples of our divine guidance, because the more of us that are available for this full illumination of the light within, the more visible we are for those that are fully illuminating in the dark to see. Do you get it? I mean, it's so freaking awesome. You can tell I'm really jazzed.
Yeah.
Because it's such an affirmation.
And
it
one
really
of the things
is.
for all of us, that it's incumbent upon us to trust the divine. When we relax into the trust of the divine, the events of the outer world, which are, for the large part, quite tragic.
Yeah.
The silver lining is that many hearts are being ignited. And the Essene brethren offered this to us many years ago, and you'll find it in the Lost Books of the Essene at our website, where they talked about the dark ages will not seem so dark compared to what is coming.
When the Essene brethren came through us, and we are getting ready to release the book on this in October when we're in New York, but if you want to just read it right now, this was, I don't like using the word predicted, but literally everything that's happening right now, it's part of why Shri and I left the United States when we did. Everything we were told has literally come forward. What we were never told was the exact timing. What we were given was the energy and the things that we would notice, because the one blessing of infinites, right? Infinite blessings. But the one that really I find very power-filled for me is that 𝐼𝐥𝐿 𝐊𝐢𝐿, the Ascended Masters, the Divine Directors, the Essene Brethren, the Blue Starborn, the T12, they have all been unified always. And in many ways, I'm beginning to notice them all as one energy. And the one thing that they have always been is that we will hold to the code of non-interference by not offering you specific timelines. And that we will only offer that when that course cannot be, that's it, it's done. And so we have noticed that in the past 6 months, we're starting to see more and more of that. Just like in the installment we showed you today, they specifically used June 2020. They are actively time stamping. And when we start seeing this punctuated active time stamping, it is a way of calling our attention.
Absolutely.
That's why we are being expanded so fast.
And the teaching of that lesson was about cycles.
Yep.
It was about the cycles of density consciousness and what kinds of experiences then come forward in the world and in the consciousness of the human. And there was one other sentence in that delivery that came afterwards, which I want to remind us now. As a result of this, meaning the experiences, many will ask, where is the heart? That's
in the installment. That it'll wake up many to actually start saying, okay, even I can't take this. Where is the heart? Where is the humanity?
When we ask, where is the heart, what we're saying is my heart is aroused.
My heart is starting to open.
And so therein is the magnificence that in the allness, which is the infinite tapestry of creation, all can happen, that the unification with the nature of the oneness can happen. And the oneness is based in love.
Yeah.
Love is literally woven into the very essence of the experience, the creation, the entire manifestation. The underpinning is love. And so we get to refract that light. We get to play with that light. We get to manifest, create, and dabble. And we learn as a result.
And you know, love means loving ourselves enough to ignite our warrior spirit.
There it
to
is.
say, you know, I am the lion and the lioness. I am the unified spirit. I am.
Yeah.
We are at the I am moment. And if you are in doubt, and if you are in fear, then those are remnants of that which is still afraid. And all it takes is literally loving yourself enough and to remember, and I want to remind you that we're still coming out of it, right? But we just came out of what with this Mercury retrograde, and we're still in the Mercury retrograde, but the peak was last weekend. Relaunch. What are you relaunching, and what is relaunching in your life right now? And then from the relaunch, it was all about the return to the truth. The return to the truth, to not be afraid of who you are. You know, so often we forget to return to the truth of who we are because we're too embarrassed, angry, upset, in denial to look at who we are. If we're in that moment, then we're certainly not in the fifth dimension. Because in the fifth dimension, we can wrap our arms around ourselves and say, thank you for getting me here now. And I'm so sorry it was hard, right? You get to be your own champion. And then we went into the remembrance. And it is this remembrance that's anchoring us in the fifth dimension. And Shri, I'm looking at all these people that have been holding through this whole show. And so let's start welcoming them in, and we're ready to receive your questions, your comments, your requests.
Yeah, well,
we are here.
I would like to start. We have a first-time caller over at BBS Radio.
Okay.
Looks like it's Patricia from New York on line 4.
All right. Namaste, Patricia. Welcome.
Namaste, Shri and Kira.
Hi, sweetheart. Welcome.
Hi. I sense a move coming on in my life soon, and I have lots of options within options, and I would just love a mini soul reading around that.
Well, thanks for asking, and it's so good to connect with you, honey.
Yes, good to connect with you too.
Yeah, it really is. The first thing I'm feeling is not an anxiety. It's like a pressure. And it's right in the center of your chest. And what's interesting is like it almost kind of knocks me over, but it's deep. And then it comes up like the back of my throat. Like it's not quite taking my breath. It's very, very intelligent. And it's just kind of sitting in the back there trying to guide your voice. And what I'm feeling as I'm connecting with you is that, yeah, you have a lot of movement going on in your life. Wow. And I just lost my breath again. The reason I'm losing my breath is I suddenly saw you standing on the very top of a very tall pyramid, and you have been balancing, like literally you're on the point, and you have been balancing and doing such a darn good job, and you can't do it anymore. You can't do it anymore. You have to decide, because they're saying you're ready to fly, and the only way you can fly is by doing what you absolutely know in your heart is what is bringing you the greatest peace. And they're saying always begin with peace, because it is the foundation of the love, and from there comes the joy. So the answer is, it's right now for you very much about that which brings you the greatest peace. And that peace needs to be integrated on all levels. And so it is.
Much love, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Namaste. Many blessings.
I truly love how all of these mini soul readings carry a wisdom message, an energy message that can be applied to so many people. Mm-hmm. And I want to underscore that wisdom of peace, because many people misunderstand that the heart's chakra is truly about peace. Mm-hmm. That ascended love is to be at peace with the creation, and that from there compassion arises.
Yeah.
And so it's important. It's peace, love, joy. It goes in that order.
And that was one of the few things 𝐼𝐿 𝐊𝐿𝐼𝐿 said. You could read all this on our website, shriandkira.com, about what is the yoga of self-ascension, or get our free ebook. But that's one of the things 𝐊𝐿𝐼𝐿 talked about, was that it was very specifically peace, love, joy. Now, of course, we're also talking about the ascended energies of that as well. Well, Shri, speaking of ascended energies, I know we have more first-time callers sitting over at BBS.
Well, let's say hi to one more. We're going to go over to BBS line 2. We have Alice from Las Vegas.
Namaste, Alice. Welcome.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for being just the thing I needed. I have a question. I have always had a challenge tapping into my third eye area. There's something that I'm in fear of seeing. There's something that I might have too much responsibility for. Something that has been holding that area of my spiritual growth back. Is there something that I can help myself be more open to that area of my spiritual self?
Well, thank you for asking, number one. And I want you to just take in a big, deep breath and relax. Really just say, okay, I got on the show today and I got the question out. And I have a lot to share. And Shri, I was thinking maybe you might want to share a little bit at first too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's important to recognize there's multiple layers to this, because one layer is we have to fully trust ourselves in order to trust the unseen that is ready to be revealed. Now, this doesn't mean you don't love yourself. What it means is there's a habit in place of having had that self-doubt, of having felt that I'm not quite enough. And one of the spiritual paradoxes is when we feel very complete with our own self, when we can keep our own good company, that's when the perfect partner shows up, because we've become content and happy with who we are. And when we're content and happy with the perceptions and our ability to navigate the world and the world of spirit, then more is revealed. So I just want to offer that as a tidbit. The other thing about the sixth chakra is it oftentimes carries residual imprints from past traumas and past hurts, and that there is a reflexive reaction that if I open to these visions, I'm also going to see things that I don't want to see or I don't want to experience. And part of that then is resolved through this trust of self, knowing that only the highest will be served because I'm anchored in the love of my life and the divine life.
So taking a breath, and I want to share with you what I was seeing. However, before I do, I'm going to play the A tuner. Those of you that know the A tuner that I developed, this is right here. And it ignites our cosmic prime meridians, which you'll notice at the base is our third chakra, conveniently marked by the bottom of my bindi, which then rises up to our star consciousness. And that's part of what I want to share with you in just a minute, my love. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the A tuner. I'm going to sound it into the microphone. And then I'm just going to point it like this while it's vibrating. And I'm going right here. It's like those 2 points if you do EFT, right? It's right there, those 2 points. You want to point to those 2 points, Sri?
Yeah.
Right
It's
there,
right at the beginning of the eyebrow. Right at the base of the nose.
Right.
That's where these channels are easily accessed.
So
they go right on up the forehead.
Exactly. And so I love that you brought this energy in for all of us today. And it's also part of this 33rd ignition. So I want you to pay attention to that too, because this is the cosmic prime meridian energy when it is in the cosmic energy. So when it's here, it just rests right here. But as we ignite, it literally opens as our portal of divine connection. So let's offer that gift to you. So I want you to relax, and I want everyone to relax, because remember, all of our readings on there are for all of us. And so this is a blessing. So we're going to ignite the A tuner. I'm going to play the tone. And then when I put it here, you're going to want to just share what Sri was sharing with you. And just breathing up. You feel that energy right here, going straight up. There we are. And so, my love, what I wanted to share with you in this moment, and I appreciate if you take even a deeper breath. All of you feel that? You're feeling that? Breathe up through your nose. Feel those cosmic prime meridians ignite, and just let the energy lift. My angel Alice, you are able to do so much. And what's happened is that your brain, and it's so beautiful, you have a beautiful brain, but this beautiful group around you keeps saying, oh, my dear one, we are right here. And we are simply waiting for you to let us be. Meaning that what they're really sharing with you is that you have already had this wide open, yet your mind is like coming in and saying, no, it's going to look like this. No, it's got to act like this. No, you're going to see it like this. It's going to be like this. And your mind has overridden it. And so it's funny, they said for me to lift up this beautiful orchid and put it at my third eye. And so I'm going to do that. So this must be for you. And so what they're saying is that in this moment, close your eyes, receive, and simply drift into that which you know is true. And as you do, the writing will begin. Your third eye wants to open with written word. And I would strongly suggest you begin with pen and paper, not a typewriter. And the more that you do that, the more it will ignite, and the more the unification will come together. From there, your star consciousness will begin igniting, and you'll have some head, not issues, but you're going to notice some energy shifts in your head. Totally cool. Don't be afraid of it. Drink a lot more water, get into showers and tubs as often as you can, and tone. There is a vibrational thing here. And so when you tone, begin by putting your hands on your third chakra and let whatever sound needs to come out. Then raise them to your heart and let whatever sound needs to come out. And each time you're with these chakras, let that tone keep toning until you absolutely get it to where you know that's the one. Do it to your throat. And then you're going to bring it to your third eye and do the same thing. And you're going to find that this energy is going to expand and expand and expand. And so it's simply your moment for it to expand. And it's been progressing exactly as needed. It's just your time, my love. Many blessings.
Great. Thank you so much. Bless you.
Bless you.
Namaste,
We love you,
dear.
honey. Mwah. Namaste. Whew. I'm feeling that. You feeling that?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, everything from the piece of the toner to the expansion.
Well, the A tuner really was quite extraordinary. I'm sure you guys all enjoyed that as much as we did because it was really a beautiful moment today. And go ahead, Shri,
And
please.
again, it's important to acknowledge that I think almost all of us would enjoy having clearer guidance, more expanded guidance. And sometimes we do need to let go of what we think it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's true.
I know for myself, the automatic writing and the as a pen on paper was the gateway, truly the gateway, and beautiful practice. Also, it's important to let go of how it's going to show up, because when we're writing, what I discovered is oftentimes my egoic filter would step in and start to shape the writing. I would start to make it look presentable. I would, instead of having partial sentence fragments, I would try to put a subject and a predicate in there. And then I finally caught myself going, wait a minute, this is an open channel of information. We don't have to speak in complete sentences. And so what it was a grand revelation of how we impose conventional reality upon spiritual information.
Well, and I love that because for many, this is how the light language begins.
Yes.
You're just sitting there aware that you're having this connection. And the only way light language can come in is if you let go of the fact that it has to have a letter.
Yes.
Or it has to have a form of language that you feel comfortable with. You could have symbols start coming through. All of that got lost when we started working on keyboards. Keyboards limit our ability to express, and emojis limit that even more.
Yeah.
Because emojis are left open for interpretation as well, are they not? And so consider that if you wanted to contract consciousness, then the first thing you would do is contract the ability. How about the written word? How about writing cursive?
Yeah.
I mean, really, or taking the time. I was connecting with some letters written by Sir Isaac Newton yesterday because a lot happened yesterday, and I was blessed to find the grab of the photos of the originals, and I found that reading his original letters in his handwriting had more potency for me than even what I had received that led me to go find these letters, and like we said, a lot more coming in July, and so. When we take away the written word, we take away our ability to move our arms as if they are what, right? They are the mudra. Yeah. Writing, imagine when writing, really writing was a rhythmic flow. Or how about the beautiful gift of working and doing some beautiful Japanese painting. I'm forgetting the name of it. I have all of it downstairs and I'm forgetting the name in this moment. But what I enjoy is where it calls my body. In order for me to do this, I have to sit very properly in the way that I hold the brush and the way that the brush, the way that the brush floats on the paper. And so when we invite our sacred consciousness to come through us, if we release what we think it's supposed to look like and don't want sentences and subjects and predicates, we say yes to who we are. If we bring it to a keyboard, then we're limited to the keyboard.
We have to funnel it into those symbols.
Refract, refract, refract. Attention spans do this with that. It's not just the refraction of the ability to connect. It's also the refraction of the ability for what? Steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. In order to enter into your ascended presence, in order to really hold that energy, your attention span is going to require more than an emoji. So it's just something to pay attention to. Where is the balance? Where is the balance? We're not saying throw one away. We're saying just where is the balance? Are you a spiritual warrior for you? Are you absolutely able to activate the warrior nature of your spirit in this moment, in this month, and in this week right now of awareness leading into experience, and then a double dip of up-level experience? Whoa, right? Balance is going to be the key. fifth dimensional compassion.
You know, it reminds me that I will now tell you a story.
Uh-oh, I'm ready. I'm going to drink a glass of water.
When I was, some years ago, when I was initially studying medical intuition, and I had my guides and teachers that were helping me to activate that sense of perception. One of the takeaways that I am wanting to share with you today is that sometimes we have to re-educate ourselves or train our brain, train our habitual way of looking at things if we choose to have an expanded experience. Said differently, you know the old adage, if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll get the same results kind of thing. If you want a new result, you gotta come at it differently. And so there's some potency in that when we are in the habit, we will, in this case, the pain will always be visible. Well, I was working with some children that had ADD, ADHD, and the recognition that came through was stop trying to teach them and allow them to heal. And the way that the healing was coming forward was with finger painting. So let's
Connection.
to be able to have the eyes and the hands move into a flow that did not have to conform to letters in a sequence, that information and art became a healing mechanism, and that they reconnected left and right brain through that process. But it took a parent, it took a perception, and it took a trust that through the process of finger painting, we were able to rewire a little bit.
You know, and this is a similar process even with singing, right? Toning. Remember, toning just
very
came in
powerful
with
for that.
our beautiful session here. That imagine that in a contracted energy of density, the first thing you're going to do is get rid of the ability to communicate, right? Then you're going to get rid of the ability to heal, because if you want to contract energy, then all of these things need to be amplified so that they become more and more compressed. And so what has happened to art education or music education? So the key is, what are you calling forward for you? The gift of the contraction is that it offers the moment of expansion. Just because something shifts in one realm of your experience does not mean it has a negative effect in another. If the third dimensional experience right now is causing you distress, is causing you fear, is causing you doubt, is causing you anger, or causing you to judge, then I'm going to go back to something we put up in the first part of the show, because I want us to put it up one more time. Then you are in the victim triangle. And right now, you see that spiral, guys. The victim, rescuer, abuser is really fighting for its life. And the teacher, mentor, healer is right here if you're willing to dive into the ascended spiral of your own illumination. And as we just heard in this beautiful ensoulment, we are at a peak illumination moment. So this is really one of those, how bad do you want it? Do you want your life to be the best it can be? Then you're going to have to do a few things. I know that we sure have, and boy, is it worth it. But how much do you want it?
It means shining light on that which was hidden.
Right, and it's going to be shined on this month, like it or not.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, let's head over to Oneness Talk
shine
Radio.
a light over there in that call board. Lots of hands up, Shree.
We're going to head to Billings, Montana.
All right. Namaste, Billings, Montana. How you doing?
Namaste, Shree and Kara. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Our pleasure.
I just feel so honored and blessed to be able to share this with you. I talked to you a few weeks ago because I was having some digestive issues. I don't know if you remember. And you both basically told me I needed to make a choice. I knew it didn't matter which way, but I need to make a choice. And I just have to share really quick that on the solstice, I moved out of a abusive relationship, and I had blocks put in the way. I stayed focused, that steadfast commitment to myself, to saying yes to me. And I drove overnight, arrived back in Montana. I was living elsewhere during the Ring of Fire eclipse. And My question for both of you, I just want to share that because it's a miracle and it's amazing, and I appreciate your guidance through all of this. I feel so much freer. But my question for you is, I now feel a lot of pain and daggers in my back from my spouse that I left. Can you recommend a way to protect that? And I don't want to be manipulated and go back ever, because I know I'm supposed to do things, and by stepping forward into me and accepting me, I'm going to help other people, and I'm claiming me. I'm doing it, and I'm so grateful for all your guidance and teachings and everything that have given me the strength to say yes.
Well, first and foremost, Shri and I are so, look at your timing and the choice. You didn't only make a choice. You said, I am here. Man, you did. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. And I love that we are one full week and you're back on the show, which rocks. First thing I want to share with you, my angel, is I have been exactly where you are. And I am not proud to say I was there more than once. I was that one who left, and I was that one who went back. I know what's going through your head, and I understand. So here's what I want you to hear just from, I have been there, and I really get where you are. You are really at a moment where they know the abuser knows you're vulnerable, and the abuser wants to be your rescuer right now. Because you, when you feel like you may want to go back, are saying my victim energy is screaming who's around. And so, of course, the one who was the abuser will also show up as the rescuer. And so in this moment, I'm feeling like Shri and I did this show for you. And I love that you got on today, because what did we just talk about again? Was that how this moment right now, this is going to be the week. If you make it through this week, and I know you're capable of doing it, you will really be on the other side. Because this is the week where you got to love yourself enough to know that you are ready to be the teacher, mentor, healer. You deserve to have someone next to you who not only loves you and celebrates you, but is like my beloved Shri. And 18 years later, you can have passion and empathy for someone who's doing what you're doing right now, because you're me, knowing what it was like to do that. Yeah. This is a huge moment for you. So I want you to just first receive that.
Yeah.
And there's some tips I want to offer to you. First is to, give yourself a hug every day, hand on heart or even bigger, and to say, hey, I did this and I can keep going. To be able to offer your own inner child the encouragement to be able to say, sweetheart, I am a wise woman. I am a warrior, and I have taken steps to protect us and to love us even more. And to let her hear that, because you are both. You are the child and you are the warrior.
Yes.
And it's important to have that conversation inside from time to time, so that there is every day the commitment is renewed for your empowerment. So I want to offer you that. The other thing is make sure that you have some support, other friends.
Women Wellness Awakenings.
And I was getting to...
If you haven't registered, you better.
I have.
Good girl. And then get in that chat room. You're going to find tribe and family that have done exactly what you've done. You're going to find so many. You are not alone.
The level of consciousness that you were working with at the time you entered that relationship is different than the level of consciousness you're holding now. So have a little mercy on yourself.
And we have to have mercy on us, because believe it or not, we're at the top. Our show's over.
All right, we got 30 seconds. I want to wrap this up. So it's important to hang around other folks that are holding that level of consciousness. Be involved in our shows. Continue to journal, to write, to love yourself, and it'll get easier and easier and easier.
This is you time. This is go time. This is my time.
You are on your way.
Fun. We love you.
Yes.
Thank
Namaste.
you, dear.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
So are we. Thank you, sweetheart. And we are so grateful for all of you. Hey, make sure you join us tomorrow night at Monday Magic. Find out more at ShriandKira.com. And of course, Tuesday night at Soul Mirrors, right here at the same station you're checking us out right now at 5 p.m. Pacific, where we are going to be diving into the warrior nature of spirit. It's going to be a big time.
Let's take a big breath together. Smile and know that all is truly well. We look forward to being with you again next week.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining us at Shri and Kira Live. To have your questions answered, send us an email to guest@shriandkiraradio.com and check out more information at shriandkira.com. See you next week. Namaste.